Prema's still fighting for third place in the championship, which it counts for something. So
yeah, true, but he's come.
Glock.
Yeah, well,
that's what he's fighting with. So.
Yeah, yeah, so exactly, and Glock is ahead of him. So
yeah.
Yes, that,
You've all got, I mean, my personal opinion as a driver was, okay, fine, you're going for the championship, fine, but don't expect me to roll over and get out your way. You know, you got to earn your right to pass somebody.
Well, I have to say, the way he's been siding past people at the moment, I don't think Hamilton will particularly make too much of a fist of it. Good race for the lead, though. Let's turn our attentions back to that, because Andrea Zuber has got Adam Carroll all over him. Adam Carroll was saying that after yesterday's race, during Formula 1 qualifying, the air temperature was hovering around 30 degrees, but by the time the GP2 cars left the grid, it had soared to just over 40 degrees. So no wonder the hard Bridgestone tyre was going off relatively quickly after the pit stops. We saw first 3 or 4 laps setting some very quick times. And there is Piquet having a go at Di Grassi again.
Yes, the replay, I think, isn't it, of actually getting past, yep.
And I think that one sticks.
And we have timing screen, which is good.
And we have Jason Hinchy in 17th place, I can tell you. Whoops, Daisy. That was lots of handfuls of opposite. What in the I was going to say what in trade terms is known as a tank slapper, but in fact that's known as a punt from Jimmy Bruni, who really ought to be a little bit more surgically precise than that. And his teammate Andrea Zuber leading this race. Now this would be a big milestone for Andrea Zuber, because he really looked very exciting at the beginning of the season with some very sharp runs, but so far has scored points just twice. So Zuber really could do with a big boost here to end his season and make him look like something special at the end of the year. And Michel Ammermuller could do with something big at Monza as well, because as we know, Red Bull aren't scared of cutting the odd driver. With Lewis Hamilton 10th place, he has now caught Jose Maria Lopez and his own teammate Alexandre Prema, who is right in front. Now this is not for points, so he'll have to work his way not only past these, but also past Sergio Hernandez and Nicolas Lapierre to take points for 6th. Here he comes inside Lopez. He's just so late on the brakes, isn't he?
Lopez didn't fight at all. That was just easy for him. Almost like Lopez said, yeah, go on, after you.
Well, there you go.
What Prema after? Yeah.
Well,
that's what we half expected. Yeah. What we were talking about before. As teammate, yeah, go on, after you.
Well, actually, it was a great place for Hamilton to catch them, because Prema could move offline easily without allowing Lopez to slingshot up the inside, because they were going so slowly. Lopez had no chance of coming back for that. That was really good use of the mirrors by Prema, because he saw what was happening. Hamilton coming down inside, Lopez being blocked. Oh, well, I'll get out of the way now immediately, and I can hold Lopez off again.
Yeah. No, that was good to see, actually. I mean, they've had some friction this year at points, Prema and Hamilton, but clearly we saw in the post-race thing yesterday, they looked pretty happy together, and clearly that sort of thing there indicates that there's no problems between them.
Well, I think at this level you have to be grown-ups a bit.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's unusual, because for the most part, drivers raise their own money. In F1, you're employed, you know, and therefore you're told what to do by your employers. This level
on
here,
part of the F1 grid, you're employed.
Yeah, the top sort of 2/3 you are, yeah. So therefore you do as you're told. Whereas this level here, you tend to, although you're in the same team, you're very much separate entities. So it's quite unusual to see at this level.
Well, it is very much the me stage, because you have to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough, the team wins the championship, but really, who cares if you don't?
Panton booked an early flight home, I think.
Yeah. Not a good race weekend for him. Oh, Piquet doing his best to get by Timo Glock, but also, well, we saw this before in Hockenheim, where some demon late braking manoeuvres from Piquet flat spotted his tyres to such an extent that in fact he had a delamination and then a tyre explosion at the end of the race.
Should get a decent slipstream here.
And the tyre explosion at the end of the race.
Should get a decent slipstream here.
And the Hamilton camp will be praying desperately for lots more lockups.
Oh, that's brave. No.
Now you see, this is vintage Glock. After watching some of his champ car races last year, he just loves to roll his sleeves up and get into it.
Yeah, well, I think he's scrapping for third place in the championship with Prema, isn't he? So he needs every point he can as well.
Well, plus, you know, a position on the podium, plus...
Hamilton up to 7th.
Yeah, he just loves to race. One more place then, and he'll be in the points.
Yep.
How far away is Nicolas Lapierre?
About 2.5 seconds up the road, Lapierre.
Superb.
And
so
a further second is Degrassi, and a further 2 seconds is Piquet, so not that far away.
Wow. So he's 9.2 off the lead, but Piquet is 3.4 off the lead. 1:38.6 Piquet's last lap. Hamilton 1:37.9. So Piquet is 0.1 behind Timo Glock across the line, and that's why Piquet's going slower, because he is battling with Timo Glock, and they are just...
I mean, they've both been scrapping, haven't they? But Piquet's been stuck in behind Glock, where he's just swapping places with Glock.
Hamilton's got visual of Piquet now, particularly if Piquet's going to leave big puffs of smoke behind him. This is a replay from that monster moment. See how dirty the dirty line is. Well, there's Prema just a shade further back. And that's our lead battle. Glock in 3rd, Piquet in 4th. Degrassi with them in 5th, Lapierre in 6th. And Glock is, well, not exactly secretly, but unwittingly helping Hamilton no end here.
Meanwhile, at the front, Zuber and Carroll are actually running very close. Carroll's actually half a second behind Zuber at the front, with a 3.5 second gap to Glock.
Well, Adam Carroll could really do with this as well to help his season. Winless so far. 1 podium. So he could really do with a big score. Either way, I think it'll be a pretty well-received win if either of these guys takes it. And perhaps the racing engineering team could really do with that help as well at the moment. They just need a little bit of something from somewhere, because like DPR, they seem to have had a bit of a struggle with luck all year long.
Yes, I mean, Carroll was proved last year what a good racer he is. This year, moving to racing engineering, hasn't had the same good fortune.
Well, I think part of last year was that he was able to take advantage of a lot of varying, vague conditions. This year, the cars are more reliable, everybody's got much more of a handle on the setup and so on, and so much more of it now is the engineering, and there's not quite so much that the driver can do to affect that. You know, if the team, I mean, we've seen it with drivers changing teams and suddenly looking like a completely different person halfway through the season.
Yeah, it's Glock being the case in point. Yeah, exactly right.
So, I mean, Adam, certainly I don't think he's... forgotten how to race.
The bodywork just flew off.
Yeah, that's one of the little barge cars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and here comes Hamilton.
Just done up here to 6th. He's in the points.
Well, that's great progress. Right in front of him, you saw Lucas Degrassi. And Degrassi, after holding off Piquet earlier on, has just faded a little. Zuber with the biggest lead we've seen for a while. Wonder if Adam is now tiring of sitting right on his gearbox and just dropping back for a few laps. So completed 13 of 23. Replay with Hamilton. And again, it looks like he's got brakes and the other cars haven't. I mean, we saw it when he was right alongside Lopez earlier on. Lopez just suddenly shot backwards out of the camera view, and that was him hitting the brakes.
They also don't seem to have mirrors, do they? Because they don't see him coming almost.
Well, they do, but it's a damn wide approach down to that corner, and I guess they think they can't
hard for him. You have to make it hard for him.
Part of the problem here is exactly why it's a good track for overtaking and a great track to watch these guys race, is that there are long straights leading up to very hard braking areas and sharp corners. So from quite a way back, you can get a really substantial tow off these cars, clearly.
Hamilton's flying, and the next 37.3 for Hamilton. The next fastest lap that lap was 38.5.
And that is Degrassi done and dusted. So Hamilton up to 5th, Piquet currently 4th.
Here we go. It's back on again. He's got visual contact as well, you see. Fantastic.
I don't know who's writing this stuff, but it's a real page turner, isn't it? Piquet bottled up behind Glock, and Hamilton a 1.5 seconds behind him on the road and going a second a lap quicker, darn nearly.
Piquet really needs to get a move on now, doesn't he?
I'm not sure that Piquet's got what it needs to get a move on under him, actually.
We've seen what he's got. It's not quite enough to get past Glock, is it?
I wonder whether they've made adjustments to the car based on yesterday and finding that at 10 in the morning the temperatures aren't in the 40s like they were at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, these harder compound tyres that they're using this weekend, I mean, they really had to be worked quite hard to get a good temperature, which obviously in an afternoon comes easier than it does in the morning time when it's much cooler.
Well, the other thing, of course, is that with such a big tow being given away, maybe the ART team and Hamilton have gone for a slightly trimmed out speed specification, you know, gone as